And although it may seem a little mundane, packing up boxes and, being on the assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the grounds every day. They know we're coming today, they know we're coming tomorrow, and they look forward to seeing us because we're the one little bit of hope that they have to have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today.
My name is Serena Buffalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Coaches Lounge with Barbara J. Beckley. That's me. And some wonderful, wonderful guests that I always bring on. Now, I am just so, you just don't know, I'm like a little kid in a candy store right now. I'm having a wonderful queen, and I call lady queens because I look at them as royalty. A wonderful lady that I met, her name is Lyndsay Dowd, and I'm telling you right now, get ready. That's all I have to say. Sometimes it doesn't take that many words to describe a queen of queens. This lady, I met her in another, like a training that we were doing together, regarding a TV show. Isn't that interesting? We're both podcasters. We're both TV streaming, gurus and everything. But sometimes, like I tell people, coaches need coaches, We still need to educate ourselves, still need to learn and grow, especially of the trends and everything that's going on. And I loved how we were both in the room, both learning, but both met each other. And I just really just vibed with her and what she was talking about, what she was saying, and how she's this giant, just giant, like I say, lighthouse to the world. And I just told her, I said, I have to have you on my show. I want to have you on my show. And she was like, no problem. Let me check my schedule. When celebrities come on, so they got to check their schedule. I have to be like, okay, let me wait and see if I can get on their schedule. And, she found a way and she got on my schedule. And I just have to say that I just humble myself to have her on the show. Now, as you know, this show is really dealing with understanding coaches, educators, and mentors. And I started this show because I always felt like they wasn't getting the love that, when you're interviewing like maybe speakers or celebrities or whatever you're interviewing. I'm like, well, what happened to the really dynamic people that's helping the individual get to where they're going? We never think about that sometimes. We just, hire the coach, say, okay, you need to help me, stay with me for 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years. And then, they just kind of go out and do what they do, which is the coach's main mission, is to lead you and guide you in any expertise that they have. But then, it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. They were the ones that were with you late nights. They were the ones that were giving you those tips. They were the ones that were pushing you to say, you can do it, when you were saying, no, I don't know if I can do that. No, you can't. You have to think about that. They were cheering you on, just staying with you, making sure that you stayed on your goals and you stayed on your objectives of your life in any capacity that they had. So that's why I said I'm going to create this show to make sure that we show these wonderful gems, as I call them, the diamonds in the world, that are coaches and mentors and helping other people. If it wasn't for my coaches, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. As far as my speaking career, as far as being on the show, as far as just doing video editing. I mean, I do all that. And if it wasn't for coaches and people in my corner and still today with me, then I wouldn't be where I'm at. So I'm giving the love right now. And I'm going to step aside because I want you to meet this wonderful lady. And she's going to describe some of the things that she do. Now, I want to say, listen to what she's talking about, because believe me, after you hear what she has to say in her element and her expertise, you're going to be like, okay, I want to work with her. I need to contact Lyndsay. I got to get to her. And what I love what she does is she's a coach and speaking consultant. And what she does is and I'm going to read this, teaches leaders how to build irresistible sales culture that drives results. I'm going to say it again, that drives results, right? You want results in your life? Lyndsay's the person. She's a chief heartbeat officer. I love her title. She's been 25 years in this industry. That's all you have to say. That's like a mic drop. So with that, we're going to get a chance to know Miss Lyndsay. But before we go there, we have to hear from our sponsor. And after that, we will bring on the Queen, Lyndsay. Ta-da!
Hey, friend, how are you?
How are you, lady? I'm so glad that you are on my show. I get to see you.
I'm so happy to be here. And thank you for that ridiculously generous intro. That was so nice.
I hope, I got to bring on royalty the right way. So I need to make sure that we have you
good
all the way. But Lyndsay, first of all, thank you for coming on my show. I always say that's a gift to me when people come on, because you're sharing your expertise and your time. So I really appreciate that so much.
Happy to do it. We were fast friends when we met. So it's a pleasure.
I know we got in the room together, and all of a sudden it's like, we were driving. I was like, oh, okay, I like this. So I got to get to her quickly. So lady, before we dive into what you do as a coach, and like I said, change people's lives, because you're a world changer. And that's why I always tell people that are coaches, give us a little background on how you got into what you do.
Sure. So you already led with, I've been in the industry for 25 years. So I've been in sales my entire career, and 23 of those years I spent climbing the ranks of IBM. I started in customer service and worked my way up to executive. And I wanted to make a change. So I left and I went to another company, and in 6 short months, I got fired. And anyone that knows me kind of goes, how'd you do that? Like, that's hard. Like, how do you have a decorated career and then you go get fired? And let me tell you, it was so painful. It was the gut punch I never wanted. It was so horrible, but it was a gift. And it was a highly toxic environment. It was I wouldn't have quit. I would have stayed. I would have muscled through it because I don't quit. But my health would have suffered. My family would have suffered. It was a gift. But it also gave me the inspiration to start Heartbeat for Hire. And one thing I understood really, really clearly from leading really big organizations at IBM was how to build this irresistible sales culture that everyone wants to be a part of. But when you do that, they perform. And so I understood how to do this. And I sat with myself in my pain and sadness after getting fired. And I wrote this job description, and it was this chief heartbeat officer. Wow. And that was an advisor to all of the sales leaders on how to do this, how to see and value your people, how to lift them up, how to make them feel, empowered and supported so they can do their best. And what ended up happening, I thought I was going to be totally in sales and totally in tech. And now I'm coaching people all over the place that are like, I'm coaching a scientist right now. I've been coaching people on career changes. I do a lot of sales coaching, and I've been speaking a whole lot on this topic. So it wasn't necessarily a real straight line of how I got to where I got to. And I'm doing some personal branding stuff and teaching LinkedIn basics classes now too. So LinkedIn's been a huge piece of this journey.
Yes.
That's kind of how I got here.
It's amazing, Lyndsay, like you said, how we get on our road to our lives, how you never know where it's going to go. It's like a creativity of the world talking to the universe or something, saying, okay, we're going to start here, but you're going to end up over here somewhere. Yeah. And then you're going to learn through when you got to that point.
It's still changing. It's still evolving. And, I have some partnerships that I work with, and I work in different capacities doing different things, but my message is still the same. So, my audience, the people that resonate with me, know that this is what I'm passionate about. It was interesting. This week I shared a post on LinkedIn about empathy, and it was an article that was in Forbes, and I shared it. It's been shared over 45 times, and it has hundreds of comments. And what that tells me is we have a hunger, we have a desire, we need to change the face of leadership as we know it. And that was my intention on building Heartbeat for Hire. But I have people from all over the world chiming in saying, more of this, please, more of this, please. How do we do this? And that's really the change that I want to be a part of.
Yeah. So you were never meant to be, like you said, I know you like a few months and then you got fired. You were never meant to be. That was just for a little small tad of your life.
Hey, I learned a lot in those 6 months, and I learned exactly the leader I did not want to be.
Yeah. I always tell people, you learn from everybody, even what not to do.
Yeah.
So yes. And you started this wonderful, like you said, what you do, you're basically business. And I love the title, Heartbeats. I love that. Can you give us a little on how that?
I use a hashtag. It's called Heartbeats, not Headcount. And I really feel if you are a leader, you are responsible to your people. And at IBM, we had to lay people off fairly often. And that was a process I never wanted to get good at. And I can remember being with one of my bosses, and she's like, I need you to come in and be a witness. She had a really difficult person she had to let go of, and I had to let go of people. Neither of us slept. We were so stressed. We understood the impact we were going to have on people's lives. And it was so important to me to honor that and to support these people. Listen, you're not going to get along with everyone, but you have to understand that as a leader, it's your job to advocate for your people. It's your job to know who they are. And I really hated when I heard leaders say to me, I don't have time for one-on-ones. I'm too busy for that. And, in sales is high pressure, high stress. You've got quotas, you've got deadlines. It's the most important week of the most important month of the most important quarter of the most important half of the most important, on and on it goes. And so the pressure is high, and you have to stop and remember your people, or they are going to burn out. They're going to resent you. They're not going to perform. And if you can create that psychological safety and that space for people to thrive, you're going to see magic happen. And if you don't mind, I'll tell you a quick story to give you an example of how this feels. So I had a great leader. She was my friend, and then she became my boss. And I was telling her what I was doing working on this very large client. I had a $150 million quota. It was a really significant relationship I had to manage with a lot of strings attached. And I was telling her what my plan was. And she just went, girl, I've got your back. Now fly. And when you hear those words, they give me goosebumps then, they give me goosebumps now. But what that gave me was incredible confidence and incredible strength to motivate my big team of 50 plus people and say, hey guys, we can do things differently. Let's think outside the box. Let's try something new. Maybe we can reach out to people in a different way. Maybe we can leverage LinkedIn. Maybe we can do XYZ. And all of a sudden, we created this environment of, I support you. Let's try this. Let's do this differently. And our clients saw us differently. And when you are a leader and you can inspire that kind of energy and greatness in your people, oh my gosh, first of all, the loyalty you're going to get from that person, the risks I was willing to take because I knew she had my back. And if I fell down, she would help me get back up. But it was something that I knew I would always want to do for the people that I led. And when I did that for the managers that I inherited and the ones that I promoted, the things they were able to do, it would take your breath away. And we just created this contagious environment that everybody wanted to be a part of. So it's totally possible, and it's not that hard.
It's not. I love how you brought up the fact about when she said, I got you, I have your back. That means so much when it comes from leadership, when it comes from management, because then you're like, okay, now I can, first of all, just kind of breathe. And then I can be creative in my own purpose and what I do and bring it out even better because I know somebody had my back. And I like how when she said she had your back, she really had your back. And I'm saying that because, especially in corporate, sometimes they might say that. And then next thing you know, something really goes down, the bats might not be covered all the way. So I'm glad that you were trusting with her and she was basically trusting in you.
You said the word, and that's trust. And you cannot get trust without understanding who your people are. And so I encourage, part of my methodology is this concept called inverted management. And it's asking this question, how can I be the best manager for you? And when you ask that question, first of all, it's a humbling question. You are admitting you don't know everything. And that's hard for some people to ask. But the answers you're going to get are going to be wildly different depending on who you're talking to. It's based on seniority, based on experience, based on career goals. And these people are going to tell you, you know what? I need someone to role play with, or I need a coach, or get the hell out of my way. I just need an escalation point. And whatever that is, you need to be able to support that. You need to be able to say, you know what? I got 2 people on my team that need more training. I got 1 person on my team that feels like they're in the wrong job. I need to advocate for them to get to a different place. But when you understand how your team is stacked, you can do amazing things.
Yes. Yeah. Trust, like you said, Lyndsay, is very important. If you can't trust, it's going to be difficult. That's in any relationship, just not even at work. I mean, it just really is hard to maneuver when you don't have that.
Yeah. Well, and when there's no trust, everybody just treats it like a job. It's just, I'm going to come in, I'm going to do what I'm asked to do, and then I'm going to leave. And if you've ever had a good leader, you know what that feels like. And when you have a rotten leader, here's another great one. When your boss calls, do the hairs on your neck stand up, or are you excited to take the call? That's a really good litmus test for how you feel about your job. And a lot of people can't even rationalize they're in the middle of misery. They don't even understand that what they're doing every day is making them so unhealthy, unhappy, and unfulfilled. And when you can actually go, oh crap, I'm really in the thick of that. I need to make a change. And I need to do it consciously to better my life, better my soul, better my heart. That's just such an important thing for people. And, no job is perfect. You're always going to have, warts and things that are gross and tasks you don't like. But if you just have to look at the scales, is it a lot more good than bad? Then good. If it's, the other way, you might want to make a change.
Yeah. Because, it gets to the point I'm loving what's going on in the world right now about mental health.
Yes.
People, we have to really be more concerned about that. And if you, like you said, Lyndsay, if it's really taking on that toll to you, you have to make that decision.
Yeah. It's I think more than ever. And I think too, we might be out of the bulk of the pandemic, but the ripples from the whole great hiatus are still happening. And the coping mechanisms that we had developed pre-pandemic have kind of gone out the window. And so people are being set off by what seems like small things, but checking in with your people and making sure that they're doing okay is, I call them power skills. Some people call them soft skills. I mean, these are skills that all leaders need to develop. And gone are the days where, you know, aggression, intimidation, and fear is the way to get people to perform. People left. That was what the Great Resignation was. People were like, I'm out. This is nonsense. I'm not working like this anymore. I want someone to see me. I want people to see the work that I'm capable of and recognize me for the greatness that I am. So, you know, the people spoke, and they're still speaking. They just really need people to listen and make that change.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Lyndsay, about the Great Resignation, because like you said, with the whole pandemic and everything, it's like all of a sudden everybody's like, you know what? I'm not really liking this. No. And I've been liking this for a while. I mean, it's all of a sudden we're getting this epitome like, what am I here for? What am I doing? I mean, I even made a change.
Yeah, well, a lot of people did. And a lot of people left jobs without having jobs to go to. They were so upset and so miserable. And think of how concentrated our time was, right? Your commute was from your bedroom to your office. Like you had no boundaries, no breaks. Like everything was just one big blur of Zoom calls, or it was too much. And I think we've gotten to a better place for balance. One thing I became extremely protective of was my time. And I said the words, I'm going to live with intention. And so the actions that I take, the people I surround myself with, the work that I do has got to feel good. And if I'm not doing that, I don't do it anymore. And, you know, pre-pandemic, we were going to bridal showers and, oh, it would be really good if you showed up at this lunch. It'd be really great if you came to this. And I was like, it's not good for me. So I'm done. And so now, you know, the people I spend time with, I cherish that time. I look forward to that time. It recharges my battery. It's so healthy for my soul. And entering a space where you're like, oh, this doesn't feel good. Like, can I make it through it, or is it time to go? And sometimes you just got to stick it out for a little bit, and you're like, yeah, it wasn't so bad. But, you know, to make those choices of living for your heart and living with intention is so important for people to understand.
And like you said, Lyndsay, I have to just give people a lot of love out there for taking that step, because I know it wasn't easy. I mean, after they realize, it's like, okay, they got the awareness in their head, like, you know what, I'm really not feeling this anymore. And then stepping out, and like you said before, some without even having a job. Yeah. They just said, you know what, I'm done. And I'll just, you know, go with faith. Just, you know, take that leap.
Yeah. And, you know, I think it's really interesting. Now we've had this massive layoff, right? Like more than 70,000 people were laid off in the last couple months. And we went from the power was in the hands of the employees to the power seems like it's back in the hands of the employers. And it worries me a little bit. It worries me on the DE&I space. So diversity, equity, and inclusion. We watched those teams that were thriving and healthy and big, and they've reduced those teams from 50 people to 2 people in some cases. And that really bothers me. So I'm hoping that I'm wrong in my observations. But the positive of all of this is the conversation that's being had on a global scale of what people are asking for, the leadership they want. I mean, we are seeing these changes, and there's a couple examples. Stripe was a really great example. The co-CEOs wrote a letter to the whole company saying, we are so regretful that we have to lay off some of our Stripers. We really didn't want to do this. We overshot what we thought we could do. And they took responsibility for it, and they honored the people that were remaining. You don't see that very often, but we did see a few examples of that in this whole layoff stretch. And It was so good to see. It was so nice to see the humanity from leadership. And that's what people are asking for. That's the kind of leadership people want to work for. And, you know, when I'm coaching people and having them, they're looking for new jobs, you know, what are those questions that we're going to ask? Because this isn't them just interviewing you. You're interviewing them to make sure this is where you want to plant roots. And you've got to make sure that the people you're working for are the vibe that you need, like where I was. You know, you really want to make sure that it's a place where they have a management style that works for you.
Yes, definitely. And I like what you said, Lyndsay, about they're just not interviewing you, but you're interviewing them too. 100%. You know, a long time ago, well, I'm taking myself age-wise too, that it was just like you went for the job and that was it. It wasn't no like back.
I hope I get it. I hope I get it.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, I tell my people, I'm like, you are telling whoever is interviewing you, you're being very selective. Those are good words to use, because you're basically saying, we're feeling each other out. Like, we're dating a little bit right now, and we're going to decide if we're jumping into a relationship. But this is a mutual decision. It's not just like, you like me, but I'm not sure if I like you. You know, that, and, you know, a lot of us don't have a luxury of being like, oh, I can get a job whenever I want. You know, we all need our paychecks. We need our money. But I want people to be really intentional with where they're going, who they're working for. And, you know, one really great question, can I speak to a few of the people on the team? Get that intel, understand, what is it like when things are tough? What is it like when things are great? What are the kinds of things this manager does to foster collaboration and connection? You know, what's the environment? Give me examples of how, you know, you perceive culture at the organization. All of those are really good things to understand going into it.
Definitely.
There's a lot of ways to answer that question. And, you know, some people, first of all, if they say, no, you can't talk to anyone on the team, red flag, like, that's a bad idea. You need to go.
What you said, Lyndsay, that's the sign. That's a sign.
Yeah, bad sign. Keep walking.
Keep walking. It's like, okay. But, you know, it's funny you said that, because at my job, where I work at, my day job, when they do interview people, they have people like myself on the team and some other people. That's the whole interview too. So the manager will interview them first, and then they say, okay, now I want you to, you know, get another room and talk to some of the people on the team. So they initiate that. So I love how they do that, because, you know, you get to meet the whole team, because you're going to work with the team. When you think about it, right, Lyndsay, it's like you're just not working with that manager, you're working with everybody on that team as well.
No question. It's so important that you're never going to like everybody that you work with. If you are, it's fantastic. But, you know, at least knowing that you've got some people that you can build trust with, and people that you can be excited to see. You know, part of the challenge of being remote is when everybody is so dispersed. As a leader, you have to foster connection. You have to give people an opportunity to get to know each other. And I experienced this. I had inherited a whole bunch of teams from a bunch of acquisitions. They didn't care about each other. They didn't want to know what each other sold. They literally were like, heads down, let me do my job. I just got stuff to do. And it was my job to show them each other and share things that I learned about them. And, you know, giving people the spotlight and saying, hey, you guys, so-and-so is running a marathon this week. Can we all like give them a shout out and send them our good vibes? It just makes them more interesting, more human, more attractive. And oh my gosh, Kyoko's doing a TED Talk, you guys. Everybody go and listen to the TED Talk. You know, this is a big concept I want leaders to understand. And sharing the spotlight does not take away from a leader. It makes you a generous leader. And don't forget, they're working for you. So when you're shining the spotlight on someone that's working for you, it makes you look good. But the more you do that, the more attracted people are going to be to your leadership style. And it's such a wonderful practice to not only shine the spotlight on the people that report to you, but the people that support you, and bringing those people on your team calls to say, hey, you guys, we have to celebrate Sally. We could not have done this without her support. First of all, Sally's going to be blown away that we're taking the time to talk about her. But anytime my team needs her moving forward, she's going to be like, I'm there. I love this team. You guys are so good to me. So, you know, giving back to people in those ways, those are free. That's easy stuff. And yes, you can use your budgets to send gifts and send points or whatever system you've got in your company. But I always used all that up. Like I was always out of points because it was so important to me that people felt recognized that, you know, and they didn't know it was coming. Like you just closed not a big deal, but you closed a deal. And I want you to know that deal was important because it's the seed that you're planting for other deals. So yeah, I sent you 100 points for, you know, you go get an Amazon gift card or whatever you're going to get. Those things matter. And it's just creating that environment of this is a place I want to be.
Yes. And I love that was said so well put. Like you said, Lyndsay, you're creating that environment, creating that culture. And it starts with leadership. I always tell people, if you're a leader, it starts with you because they have to see it within you. And then people take, you know, hold of that and see where, you know, now they can navigate because now they're flirting from the leader from high up.
That's a great point. But let me add, culture belongs to everyone. And even if you have a so-so or a not so great leader, you still have an opportunity to inspire greatness in others. And just because they're not great, the more you put into the place that you work, the more you're going to get out of it. And it's tough when you have a tough leader, but crossing your arms and disengaging isn't going to help you either. So figuring out ways to network with people outside of your reporting chain, asking for those executive interviews from people that are outside your reporting chain, you're asking and you're building advocacy. And advocacy is going to help you on your career path. It's going to help you find the people that you want to be mentored by. But really, it changes the game on how you see the company and it changes the exposure that you get. So culture, yes, it starts with leadership, but it belongs to everybody. And, you know, you can easily pack up your toys and go home, or you can stay engaged and really, you know, try and foster the environment you want.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said earlier about, you know, sometimes you learn what to do with leadership and sometimes you learn what not to do.
Those lessons are just as important.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling, especially what not to do. I learned a lot about that. And then, like you said, you can, like you said, with the old culture, you can create yourself in that environment. You don't have to, you know, be as how they are. And sometimes they learn from you. I know I had a manager a while ago and she was not, like you said, but I was like, you know, Mrs. You know, smiley, that people always say, I got the smile on my face all the time. They're like, bro, you always smiling. You seem like you're so positive and stuff. So it kind of, you know, was growing on other people. And then she was like, okay, Barbara. I give up.
Yeah. But think about that. I mean, you don't need a leadership title to lead. And there were so many jobs where I didn't have direct HR reports, but I had big teams of people and I had to make them want to work with me. They had choices. They could have worked with other reps, but I needed them to work on my accounts. So I was trying to create the best place, the most fun place, the most engaging place, the place where they were going to get recognized the most. And it's almost like training wheels for when you get that management job. And those people to this day, whether they were my clients or they were people on my team, I'm still friends with all of them. And everyone has the opportunity to make that kind of impact.
Yes, definitely. Now I understand more and more why your company is called Heartbeat. Because I can just see your heart, you know, showing in so many others. You create that culture in what you do. So I commend you for that so much because we need to multiply you. There's much needed out there.
I'm trying, girl. I'm putting it out there as much as I can. I think, you know, I spend so much time creating content and trying to really, you know, shout from the rooftops the right way to do things. And you know, the one message that I have is you never stop learning. And for all of those leaders that have been doing this for 20 plus years and with a reasonable amount of success, my question to them is, when was the last time you hired a coach? When was the last time you took a class? Because the world around you has changed and people are asking for something different than likely what you've been delivering. And oh, by the way, everyone is capable of growth. You are not born, I don't know if we can swear here, but you are not born a-hole leader. You became one because you didn't have good examples. And just like you became one, you can become a great leader because you understand what your people need. So I have a lot of friends who are like, oh my God, I was the biggest jerk and I've changed so much. And I love those stories because it gives me hope that, you know, if you were managing people the wrong way, maybe, just maybe, there was some story I told or something that inspired you to think differently, to ask that question, how can I be the best manager for you, to give back to your people, to shine that spotlight, you know, just to create an environment that you wished you had.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Lyndsay, I want to, before, you know, we wrap up, I want you to give the audience just a little bit of what you do as far as the sales coaching, because I know for myself, sales is not one of my wheelhouses. Even though I have the business and stuff, I always admit what works for me and what doesn't work for me, what lane I'm in.
Yeah.
So this is a good lane for you. If you can give just some tips about
Sure. I think it's funny. You know, people immediately, when they think of sales, the first image in their mind is this used car salesperson. And I don't want to be sleazy and I don't want to put myself in a place that feels uncomfortable and icky. And I'm asking for something that's, you know, not natural. And the truth of the matter is we're all sellers. You know, you could be trying to get your kid to eat their vegetables. You're selling it to them. You know, it's the way you're spinning things, the way you're talking, the way you're trying to persuade someone to understand what you're doing. And I have a recent story of a friend of mine. She's a coach and she said, hey, can I pick your brain on something? And I said, yeah, sure. She goes, you know, I'm coming to the end of 2 contracts and I don't know what to do. I need to get them to extend them, but I'm not comfortable. Like, what am I going to say? And I said to her, I said, well, have they given you feedback along the way of, God, you've helped me so much. And have you witnessed an arc? Have you witnessed, you know, their growth through the process? Oh yeah, totally. I said, well, remind them of that and say, you know, it's been such a joy to watch you evolve and grow and prosper through our time together. I'm hoping that you're going to extend because I've enjoyed this so much. Now, I'm not saying buy this. If you don't buy this right now, the price is going to go up. Like, I'm not doing anything unnatural. I'm putting it back in their mindset of what they experienced and saying, you got a lot of value out of this. I want to continue. That's not hard. That's not unnatural. That's easy to think about. And you know what? She got both extensions and she got 3 referrals out of that. Wow. And that was her being herself. She wasn't coming at it from a different way. And there's a great salesperson. Her name's Samantha McKenna on LinkedIn. If you don't follow her, you should. But she has a concept called Show Me You Know Me. And I love this so much. So Show Me You Know Me is probably the antithesis of the pitch slap. So we all get pitch slaps every day, which is these wretched emails or, you know, DMs saying like, hi, I'm so-and-so, buy my stuff. You don't know me. You haven't said anything about me. It's not happening. So keep on keeping on. But what Samantha teaches is take some time to do your homework. If you know you have to sell to someone, look them up on LinkedIn. See, you did this. You found pictures that you dug deep for some of those pictures. But you know what? You took the time and you went, I'm going to capture her in the way I want to capture her. One thing I love to teach is ask your client, like, what's their favorite restaurant? What kind of food do they like? This is an easy one, right? Everybody eats. So you could just say, you know, what do you like? Or, oh, I'm gluten-free, or I love chocolate, or I'm a big beer person, whatever it is. When you've got that, you file that one away. And next time you see something, I was thinking of you, and it could be an article. It could be a $10 gift card. It could be, I tried this restaurant that you recommended. I loved it so much. And what you're doing is you're staying top of mind. You're not asking for anything. You're keeping a relationship alive. You're cultivating a relationship. And when you make it about them and when you make it about, I see you there and tell me what your goals are so I can support them. It is selling in the way of service. It's not selling product. It's, I want to help you achieve your goals. I think there's a way I can do that, but help me understand what they are so I can best support you. And every conversation you have internally after that is, no, these are their goals. So we're going to frame everything around their goals. They will feel very listened to. They'll feel very heard. They'll feel very like, no, they understand where we're going. So now I'm paying attention. So just some good ones that.
Wow. That was awesome. I mean, I'm telling you, Lyndsay, I'm loving that. I didn't even think, because I always think about building a relationship, like you said.
Yeah.
But I love how you took us through that journey of how to do that.
Yeah.
In just a nice way where it's not costing you that much at all, really, unless you want to buy the $10 gift card. And with that, when you think about it, it's not that much, because now you're really creating that relationship where you don't know where it's going to go and how you're going to serve them in a good way.
Think of all the business lunches you have to go to, or business dinners. And when you're getting to know somebody for the first time, it can be really hard. So, and that inner voice of, my boss wants me to ask all these questions. Oh my God, I got to do that. But start with the humanity side of things. Yeah. Ask about their family. Do they have a pet? You have a dog? Oh my God, I have a dog. She's right here in my lap. See, I'll show you. Here's Poppy. Oh, but finding that common ground, finding that way to bond, that way to connect. It's going to serve you in the long run, because you're going to have something more to talk about. And as you're going through, like, let's say you have we're going to meet internally and we're going to come back to you in 2 weeks. That's a long time. You want to stay top of mind in that waiting period. Send an article, send a funny meme, send hey, came across this wiener dog. I was thinking of you. It made me laugh so much. You're not asking for anything. You're staying top of mind. And especially if you can find articles that are relevant to something they're working on with their goals. Yes. Oh my God, you look even better.
Because you would take, like you said, you took that time to think about them, to send them something that even can help them. Like, I like how you said, Lyndsay, where you said, just don't say, you know how some people just random send something and it's not really helping them. It's not really their goal or whatever you're thinking about. And some people could tell, like, okay, they just sent me this just to be,
whatever. I don't get it. What's this for? Yeah.
What's this for? It's funny you said, I love how you said, research the person and see what they're about. A lot of times, and even in LinkedIn, love LinkedIn, but I don't love when some people in the DM, when they send me something like this one guy, he was saying, hi, Barbara, I would really love to talk to you about surfboards and stuff like that. Really? I mean,
yeah.
I said, you really did not research me. I mean,
it's insulting. It's insulting. And I laugh when these things happen, and, they'll be like, or they'll start with an insult, even worse. Like, your SEO sucks. Okay. Go pound sand. I got nothing for you. Like, I'm not hiring you after you insult me. That's terrible. And maybe SEO isn't important to me because I've got other stuff cooking. So, it's just not the way to get through to people. So I almost wish I could create a boomerang in LinkedIn for the pitch slaps, be like, like loser horn of like, not going to happen.
You probably could do that too. Create a video like that.
I'm gonna work on it.
You need to, you need that. We need to help, because, like you said, when somebody, like you said, as soon as you talk to me, you're insulting me at the beginning. Well, I looked at your LinkedIn and it really sucks. I mean, it's like, really? And I can help you with that. Well, I don't really want the love.
And there's a great way to do that. There's a great way to say, you know what? I don't know if you know this. There's so many great things you can do on LinkedIn to optimize your profile. And if you're ever interested, I've got a class coming up. Come join. You might learn a lot. That is a much nicer way than saying, like, dude, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's just terrible.
Your bio and everything is so boring. I mean, they'll come out and say it. They're that bold sometimes. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So, Lyndsay, what I want to do, lady, is before we sign off, I want to give you just a few 30 seconds. I'm going to take myself down. I just want you to, leave anything that you want the audience to hear from you. And then I'll make sure they get your link so they can get you on your website.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's been such a joy. So yeah, guys, if you are looking for that next career move, if you are looking at, you need some sales leadership coaching. I work with a lot of clients who are trying to navigate their organization politically, not Democrat, Republican, but through the politics of their organization. I love helping people with this. I love coaching leadership teams, and I love speaking to organizations about this topic. And I also do these LinkedIn classes, so definitely keep an eye on my space. I'm offering them at least once a month, maybe more. I have a class coming up on the 30th of March, and that is just for students. That is for college age and postgrads. I'm going to help them get their LinkedIn profiles zhuzhed and get them ready for that next internship, that next job, that co-op, whatever they need. But it'll just be an hour on the 30th. So definitely check it out. I'm also working on a group coaching program that will be announced soon. And it's just been an absolute joy being on Barbara's show. So thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure to have you, Lyndsay. And we, like now that I feel like we're family, I need to bring you back.
Anytime.
Anytime. Get on the schedule and do this again, because I know the audience and myself learned so much from you, and just being that heartbeat of a leader, that heartbeat of a person, in general. So you are that, and show you the love on that part so much.
Back at you, friend.
Yes. So please reach out to Lyndsay. If you need that help, you see, I told you was going to be blown away. And please reach out to her. She is there to help you, and make sure that, you're leading the right way, sales, driven results, everything. Just learn how to handle. It's all about relationship building. Just sum it up. It's all about relationship building. So with that, I want to let everybody know, Lyndsay, thank you again for being on the show. We will see everybody next Friday. The Coaches Lounge with Barbara comes on every Friday. And if you are interested, if you're a coach, if you're a mentor, if you're an educator, just like this queen sitting next to me, and you want the spotlight, I'm here because I am your visibility coach. And I would love for you to be on the show so we can just spotlight you, because you are awesome. As I always say, that you have a diamond in you. Just let it shine for others, because the world needs to see your shine so they can shine to the world. With that said, thank you again, Lyndsay.
Pleasure, Barbara. You're a dream.
My name is Serena Buffalino. I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. My career started off as a special education teacher. When my students found out that there were kids in this world that did not have the right to go to school, inspired them. The concept behind the Haiti School Building Project was a small handful of youth in Toronto would help a small handful of youth here in Haiti. The Haiti School Building Project finally opened up last year, September 2018. It has successfully been running for 7 months now, and what I have seen is nothing shy of beautiful. One person with the support of others can literally transform the planet.